This is your Neepawa Town Council Debrief for the April the 19th, 2022 meeting. The debrief will take you through the key issues being discussed by Council and provide a bit more information on what they mean for the town. Following a public hearing for the town's 2022-23 budget, which we cover in a separate program, this week's Town Council meeting dove headlong into some public works issues that have been in almost everyone's mind. Director of Operations Denise Kay talks about the progress of the cleanup of last week's blizzard and the limitations of what the town can do with that type of heavy, wet snowfall. He also offers the statistic that in the average year, the town will spend $40,000 to $60,000 on snow removal. This year, they have already spent $160,000, and with another storm forecast for this weekend, it is not over yet. As well, with the new reservoir at the water treatment plant nearing completion, Sakay wants to give the residents of Neepawa some advance warning about the process that will take place when the new reservoir is connected into the water system, which will likely happen in May. At that time, the entire community will be placed on a planned boil water advisory. This is required when that disruption happens and does not mean that the water is contaminated. It is a precautionary measure that will be lifted as soon as the water can be tested again. Sakay stresses that the community will be given plenty of notice when this is going to happen. He estimates that the disruption itself to the water supply will last a few hours, and the boil water advisory will be lifted within 3 to 4 days as long as there are no problems.
Okay, Denise, Manager of Operations, what do you got?
That was quick.
We need you, but how long?
Yeah. All right, thank you, Erica. So, as many of you saw, it snowed again and again and again. So, town crews were out and contractors were out. We did our darndest to open everything up, so emergency services had full access to all the streets and all the businesses in town. I think they did a darn good job. We've been receiving resident complaints regarding driveways being obstructed though. And unfortunately, when we get a snowfall this heavy, the snow gates are just ineffective, the machinery is just ineffective, it's just too much for any machinery to function properly. So no snow gates are used. We will not, nor will contractors be going out to clear any driveways out. That onus will be placed 100% on the homeowner to clean their own driveway out. It's regrettable, but unfortunately when we do try to minimize that, that's a privilege we provide, the council decided to provide, not an obligation. The remainder of the snow likely will just stay melt. We'll tie up a few zones with a few areas of concern, but town crews did manage to do the blow and haul away this morning, so all those zones are cleaned up now, and we'll just kind of see what the next weather pattern looks like. It's either rain or snow or another fun one for this weekend coming up. So crews will be on standby again, as will contractors. Just for interest's sake, this season, so the latter part of 21 and into 22, a normal year we probably would have budgeted about 40 to 60,000 on snow clearing. This year we're in the realm of 160,000 spent now. So for any of those that seem to think we're not doing a very good job, I can tell you with choice and expenses to prove otherwise. Hopefully we don't see any more work this weekend, otherwise I would like to keep it under 200,000. Not a fun record I want to break, so we'll leave that one alone. But another notable comment is the construction projects we have on the go. So the Rcmp has been moving along very nicely, and some people may notice that the south side has actually got some siding and some of the cladding finishes going up now. Lagoon is on standstill until we get more work and thaw happening there, so we can't really do much over there. The water treatment plant reservoir project, though, is a very big one. And we've been back and forth with engineers, contractors. When we do this project, it will be noted out as a full community and RM boil water advisory. So on a normal, it's not a boil water order. So advisory versus order. Because we're doing precautionary work and trying to control it as best we can, it's just advised that all residents, when we put this notice out, it hasn't gone out yet, that residents, technically they're ordering us, not ordering us, they're advising boil water. On an order, that's when there's a known contaminant in the water. We do not have that, so we'll be pushing that out because all the work's going to be happening directly leaving the water plant. So it's going to essentially touch 100% of all water in the community. When that goes out, there'll be tons of media. We'll be plastering social media. We're doing as much as we can, notifying everyone, healthcare, industries, you name it, all bodies, everyone involved. But this is just kind of an early heads up. This looks like it will be happening in May. So once we have final dates, final times, all those notifications will be going out. So that's probably the biggest notification we want to do a little early warning on. If you want to add
Can you
anything.
explain why it has to happen?
So because there's a disruption in the service, we turn the water off, so the water will be off, the tower will still be feeding the community, and that's again, we'll try to do some conservation measures. But when we turn that water off and the pressure goes below 20 psi within that water main, at that point, under drinking water officers, the provincial laws, we have to issue a boil water advisory and then redo lab testing because we've reduced the pressure in there. So when they do this, because they have to cut one pipe out and put a few connections in there. So once he has the potential of introducing a foreign body in there, that's where we have to do that. Then we go through the lab samples, we test everything, ensure everything's fine. I'm optimistic. There's a very, very small chance that a pathogen should be introduced, but we'll probably we will be bumping up chlorine levels in the days following that, early preceding it, just so we have a little higher residual within the system, so if there's an organic material in there, it will be killed. And then again, once the work's completed, we flush it. It's the same protocol we do whenever we do a renewal. The only thing is that this one is going to touch the entire community.
How long notice?
Optimistically, the disruption of service that we do will be about 4 to 6 hours. If troublesome issues arise, for high groundwater table, vanishing pipe that we're having a hard time finding because the records are incorrect, it could be up to 12 hours. This service will be happening on a weekend, and from there, we'll, like I said, most industries will be shut down. Our big ones have already been notified so that they can do some pre-planning. But the biggest component will be water conservation. So in the event that we do have a fire, we have to ensure we still have water to fight that fire.
So, did I hear you say, I missed that, did you say it was going to be 4 days? Is that what you
No.
said? No.
So the official lab results will probably be with that 4-day mark. The disruption of service, where we're going to have a water plant not pumping water out of it, will probably be about, say, 6 hours, if all goes well. The advisory will probably last 3 days, till we get those lab samples in and received.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you, Denise. Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought you were.
Well, I was just gonna say, so but with this reservoir, I mean, this reservoir is to meet the community needs, right? This is because we're trying to double our treated water on hand going forward as a community, so we're better protected
Correct. We're
and
also,
supply more industry.
it is, and we have vamped up essentially 4 disruptive services are going to be grouped into one. So by that, we're planning a contingency pipe leaving the plant now, so that we'll have another means of it exiting. If there's another disruption or something, we have a means to bypass some water out, effectively not shutting the entire community down. The reservoir itself will be isolated out, the new one, because it has to, same thing, have lab samples done and make sure that it's safe and potable once we complete the project. And inside the water plant itself, there's another connection that has to occur. So we're going to be doing all of these at the same time to take the 3 for sure, and that 4th one will be a contingency we're putting in place now to avoid this in the future. Hopefully mitigate and reduce some of these opportunities and chances of a community-wide advisory.
Like there was a comment at the table earlier that no one can remember the last boil water advisory for Neepawa.
Well, the last one would have been the water plant flooded.
Right.
So that would have been 2002?
Yep.
We had a mechanical failure within the plant. The entire plant was flooded, so that would have been an entire community outage of water and boiled water order at that time, because it was definitely contaminated at that point.
Yeah, so it's pretty good track record though, really. It's never been anything. Yeah, 20 years, and this one is only because we're...
This is an intentional breach.
Yes.
To hook up the reservoir.
CAO Colleen Sanchishin covers a few other matters of correspondence and community interest. The first is a Ukrainian humanitarian fundraiser being run by the grade 7 class in conjunction with the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op. It will take place on May 20th from 2 to 4 at the co-op. And Sinchishan and Deputy Mayor Headley share the details.
Neepawa Middle School, Colleen.
So this came for council, but no point in not sharing it with the rest of the community because everybody likes a hot dog. This is a fundraising effort of the grade 7 class at the school. It's for the Ukraine humanitarian fundraiser. So we're going to have a community barbecue fundraiser on May the 20th from 10 to 2, hosted over at the Neepawa Food Store at the Neepawa Gladstone Co-op. Hot dog, chips and drink for $5. There's going to be a prize table, donation box. Shevchenko will dance on someone from Sandy Lake and perform at 11 and 1 just to showcase what they can do. And it's kind of like a real-life humanitarian project in association with the co-op. And the grade 7s are quite pleased to be participating in this. So unless maybe the co-op has something to add to this. Is it anyway? Everybody comes.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. It'll be out in front on what we call our patio there, and just May 20th. I hope it's not snowing.
Just before the long weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, always right.
Sinchishan also briefed council on the RCMP's narrative report, which includes information on such things as traffic enforcement actions, but also warnings about fraud reports and crimes to watch out for, such as theft of gasoline.
The Rcmp report, Colleen.
So this is your quarterly narrative report, in addition to some stats we generally get from it from January 1st to March 31st of this particular year. Regarding their work that they do on enhancing road safety and impaired driving operations, no charges for impaired operation of a motor vehicle within the town was issued this quarter. 5 drivers were charged with impaired driving and received roadside suspensions in the Spruce Plains area outside of Neepawa. In regards to traffic enforcement, in general, 167 traffic tickets have been written in the Neepawa area, along with 31 written warnings. 1 ticket was issued under the Liquor, Gaming and Cannabis Control Act for unlawfully transporting cannabis in a vehicle. Fraud, still having fraud complaints come in. There were 10 reported in the Spruce Plains district this past quarter. 2 actually occurred in Neepawa. They find this is actually an area that's underreported in the RCMP because they don't actually get a lot of calls or people reporting these. A lot of the scams relate to preying on elderly folks in the community, and they're looking for Bitcoin, iTunes, or any kind of monetary means that can be difficult for investigators to track. So they've been working about putting some information in the newspaper about these scams, and they try to refer them to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, and just spreading the information that don't, when a call comes in, report it to the RCMP or at least question it. People should not be phoning you for Bitcoin or iTunes or anything you don't even know what it's about. For the break, enter, and thefts, 10 were reported property crimes, 2 were break and enters. In one of those reported crimes, the victim and suspect were known to each other, and the victim declined to pursue any charges. And they continue with curfew checks. They actually keep a list, and they regularly do those curfew checks by those that are not abiding to conditions. Communication, they still continue. They attend our office quite regularly here and keep us up to date on what they've been up to. Just a note, compared to this particular quarter to last year, in the urban center, which would be Neepawa, there was a 102 calls for service, and prior year 155. So the calls are down. I'm not sure why. There was an expectation that the calls would actually increase once COVID, allowed people to get out and about more. But in discussion with the RCMP, they are expecting that as people do get out and about more, that our call numbers will definitely increase in the coming months. So they're currently full staffed at the Spruce Plains area. They've received 2 new members from the Depot Training Academy in Regina and have had 4 experienced members transferred into the Spruce Plains area from the North District. For those that aren't aware, Sergeant Mark Morehouse will be retiring this summer, and they are expecting his replacement sometime during the summer months to coincide with his departure. Corporal Jacob Stanton, who is kind of the Minnedosa Detachment Supervisor, is moving on to the Brandon District in April, but his position has not yet been filled. And they're expecting a busy summer, but with the cost of fuel and whatnot, they're also expecting people out there stealing fuel, so keep your eye out.
Okay, thank you, Colleen.
While the 2022 financial plan public hearing took place outside of Council's regular meeting, it came back to Council in the form of 2 actions, including first reading of the motion to pass the budget, as well as first reading of the bylaw to allow for the levying of taxes and related enforcement measures in 2022.
Yes. Okay, we had our public hearing at 6 o'clock on our financial plan, and we're now going to move forward with a resolution to adopt it. So moved by Councilor Gerard, seconded by Councilor Constantine. Be it resolved that we hereby adopt the 2022 financial plan. All in favor? Carried. Okay, Colleen, we're into bylaws for taxes here.
So the first one is just first reading. You've already approved your financial plan, so given that you have, those values have been inputted into the bylaw for first reading so that we have the authority to levy the taxes. Second and third reading will come next meeting.
Okay, we'll move forward with that resolution. Moved by Councilor Constantine, seconded by Councilor Liddell. Be it resolved that bylaw number 3214-22, being a bylaw of the town of Neepawa to levy taxes for the year 2022, to provide for a tax due date and to provide for late payment penalties, be now read for a first time. All in favor? Carried.
Councillor Parrott had a couple of final thoughts to close the meeting. One was to note that his term with Prairie Mountain Health is now complete, but the legacy of that term is the new hospital to be constructed in Neepawa. The other is a note that the Association of Manitoba Municipalities convention is this week in Brandon, including a special announcement by the Premier at 9 a.m. on Thursday. That announcement turned out to be an investment of $25 million into the Building Sustainable Communities program, more than doubling the previous contribution. The program supports planning activities, organizational capacity, building projects, community and regional initiatives, and capital infrastructure to extend, improve, or enhance existing public use facilities and spaces.
All right, so do we have any other business?
Well, we should mention that tomorrow and Thursday, the AMM convention, Association of Manitoba Municipalities Convention is in Brandon, so councillors and staff have the ability to go take in sessions there, and the Premier of Manitoba is making a special announcement, so that'll be interesting to find that out. And we'll be able to meet with the Minister of Municipal Relations as well.
So just give me no hint what the special announcement is going to be?
No, that's your 9 o'clock on Thursday, I think. It just
Yeah.
says special announcement.
Well, no, I don't know.
Okay.
Unless you got $20.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Greg, and good morning, everyone. It's indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be here with so many of you this morning. And I want to thank my colleagues, Eileen Clark, for being here as well. I know she was here yesterday visiting with many of you, and today she'll be here all day in a panel this morning as well. And I also want to just thank Greg Nesbitt as well for being here and for emceeing this important announcement this morning. Just last week, our government was pleased to present Budget 2022, Recover Together, a budget built for Manitobans and informed by Manitobans. Budget 2022 provides strategic and significant investments in key priority areas that matter most to Manitobans, strengthening our healthcare system, making life more affordable, building our economy, investing in our communities, and protecting our environment. Budget 2022 implements our plan to recover together. It strengthens, invests, and builds our province and gives Manitobans hope and opportunity for the future. Manitobans have told us that they want a growing economy with good jobs and opportunities for their children and grandchildren. They've told us they want vibrant and thriving communities to put down roots and build a family right here in Manitoba. Budget 2022 delivers on their priorities. It builds up our communities and it builds up our economy as we recover together. As part of Budget 2022, I am pleased to share that we are more than doubling the Building Sustainable Communities Fund from $12.5 million to $25 million to support even more local projects in communities across our province. This investment will help nonprofits and local governments enhance new and existing public spaces within your communities. From new playgrounds to swimming pools and community club upgrades, this $25 million fund will help ensure our local communities can grow and thrive as we emerge from this pandemic together. I am confident this investment will improve the quality of life for Manitobans and communities and regions all across this incredible province of ours, and I look forward to continuing to work with our municipal and community partners to strengthen, invest, and build our province and provide hope and opportunity for the future of our province. Again, I want to thank you all for taking the time to be here today. I am just so honored to be in Brandon here today. I know I'm from Winnipeg, don't hold it against me, but as my colleagues have said, I really don't have perimeteritis. I love getting outside the city, and just so honored to be here today. I've been to Brandon many times, and it certainly will not be the last time. Thank you so much for allowing me the opportunity to be here to announce this important announcement for all of you. I think it will be incredible for all of your communities. This is how we can work together towards a better, brighter future for all Manitobans. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Premier. I'd now like to call on the Minister of Municipal Relations, the Honourable Eileen Clark.
Well, good morning once again. I'm going to stick to script this morning. Make my colleagues and my staff happy. Thank you, Greg, and thank you, Premier, for being here this morning. In my past 6 years, I go out to a lot of communities, a lot of First Nations. I typically went alone. It's really good to have colleagues to work with. I mean, we work together every day, but we all have a lot of important and respective roles and responsibilities, but to be here with the Premier this morning is an absolute honor because she gets to see the people that I know so well, and that matters. So anyways, it is a joy to be here today and talk about government funding initiative to support community projects because I know how important that is. As part of the 2022 budget, we cover together our government committed to investing in our communities. And since its launch in 2019, the Building Sustainable Communities program has positively supported communities all across Manitoba. And it's so nice, I know, to be able to apply through one portal and get this kind of funding. We have invested in projects that enhance new and existing public spaces that are highly valued by the public, municipalities, and nonprofits. Developed to replace 7 separate programs that were restrictive and administratively burdensome, not just for you, but for our government as well. The Building Sustainable's community program gives nonprofit organizations a single point to access community grants. Today, our government is so proud to announce it's doubling the funding program from 12.3 to 25 million. And I remember, like, I am on Treasury Board, and I said to my Deputy Minister, whom I'm getting to know and very much appreciate, I said, do you think I could go for more money to Treasury Board, while we're doing this? And he just looked at me and smiled and he said, well, you could try. Well, I did. And I want to thank my colleagues on Treasury Board for also seeing the value of this. So this funding will increase. It will help to meet the high demand, and the demand was huge. I think it was close to 40 million in applications, so we still won't cover everything. The funding and the support the projects that stimulate local economic activity in both urban and rural communities as they recover from COVID. The Building Sustainable Communities program provides maximum grants up to $75,000 to cover up to 50% of eligible project costs that extend, improve, and enhance existing public use facilities and spaces. through planning activities, organizational capacity, building projects, community and regional initiatives, and capital infrastructure. All projects except planning projects require a minimum non-government cash contribution of 10%. The program was expanded in 21-22 to include support or larger scale capital projects. This expanded program funds up to 50% of eligible capital projects up to a maximum of $300,000, and we had some great applications. This year's program intake closed on January 17th. 634 applications, and as I said, it was close to $40 million that would have covered. The Manitoba Municipal Relations Department is currently reviewing and assessing the applications received, and municipalities will be notified in a very short period of time. Our government is very proud to double our commitment to building a sustainable communities program, and we look forward to positive results in your communities throughout Manitoba. And I look forward to coming out to your communities to announce. We won't get to all communities, but I will be traveling a lot this summer to help announce projects and to see how they're moving along. So thank you once again, and we look forward to letting you know our successful projects. Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, this concludes this part sorry, Councilor Perry.
So officially, my second term for Prairie Mountain Health is over. So you'll have to direct everything to Prairie Mountain Health. So I've done two 3-year terms now. And that's all you're allowed.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, it's good that you said that, right? So you only allow 2 3-year terms.
I'm only allowed 2, yeah.
And then they move on. No, exactly.
I didn't get it going way better.
It's for all your work.
Yes.
And you have a lot of hours in there.
And look what you got at the end.
Also covered were a couple of subdivision bylaws which have been discussed at previous meetings, a reimbursement from the Minister of Natural Resources for a portion of the Dutch elm tree removal, a new economic development website, and the purchase of a new loader. You can view end-to-end coverage of the Town Council meeting elsewhere in the NACTV schedule, including immediately following this program. We welcome your feedback on this program, and if you have questions or items that you'd like to see clarified or discussed, you can reach us at 204-476-2639 or by email at nactvnews@gmail.com. Thanks for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.